All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. This is yours truly, Charles Comer and James on the Over and Under podcast. How you doing today, James?
We here, fresh off work. Had to run to the computer.
We just want to shout out to the Cowboys for winning last night, and I didn't go
No
into
shout out for the Cowboys.
yeah, please shout out because I didn't go into a total wreck this weekend. One of my teams won. You know what I mean? We all don't get the luxury of having Oregon, being an Oregon fan and a Carolina Panthers fan. You know what I mean? So
We didn't win.
I know that's what I'm saying. One
Oh,
one
got
and
you.
one a day, one and one a day. But we got a lot of topics to talk about today. As you know, this is the Wednesday episode. We answer the questions about the games coming up this weekend. The important questions. We got to talk about Oregon and Oregon State. We got to talk about Arizona. They're known for beating Big 12 favorites. We got to talk about this Ole Miss and LSU game. And also my favorite, we got to make sure we talk about Colorado. Colorado's got a big game this week, and also Ashton Genty. He plays Hawaii this week, so how many yards can he go for? So we'll go ahead and get into that and get into our first topic. So James, as we talked about, last week and the week before, Friday night games are legit. I wish more Friday night games are on team schedule. So we got Arizona State versus Utah on a Friday night showdown. Now, most of the times the favorite get beat on Friday night, or we have an overtime game. How do you see this one playing out, or what questions would you have for Arizona State Utah game?
Not really. Is the Camp Rising playing, or are we getting somebody else?
That's major. Yeah, right. Is Cam Rising playing in the game? Because
Yeah.
if not,
So,
what do we do?
I don't. Arizona State has been hit or miss this season. They looked strong coming into the season, and then they dropped a few games that they probably shouldn't have dropped. And then Utah just lost to Arizona, which no one expected them to lose to Arizona. So I'm just up in arms. I don't know what to even think. If Cam Rising playing, maybe Utah could probably win, but Arizona State, they've been putting it on as well. So I don't know what Arizona State is showing up on Friday. That's the real question. And what quarterback is playing for Utah is the other question. Once we
I want
I'm more of what quarterback for Utah first. If Cam Rising is playing, then they're probably winning. But if he's not, it could be a shootout. It could be a game.
if Cam Rising still plays, I don't think how many he's played 2 games since 2022. You think he could just get on the field and just, all right, I'm Cam Rising. You know what I mean? Like Batman just shows up, randomly to beat somebody. Like, I'm Batman. Let's get it popping. I don't think
Gonna
Cam
have to.
Rising is. He's injury prone. He's old. Him and Alan Bowman are old. You know what I mean? Like, he needs to go find his insurance job, man. Because when we look at Utah, they're known for their defense and their offense for just having Cam Rising. If you don't have Cam Rising, more than likely you can beat them, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you talked about which Arizona State is showing up because we had an Arizona State team that went toe to toe with Texas Tech, who we think is one of the favorites in the Big 12 now. And then we had an Arizona State team last week that went toe to toe with Kansas and beat them on the last play of the game, right? So we don't really know who we're getting, but we do know is Sam Levitt. He is a good quarterback. The defense is shaky. I would say they got to show up, but I'm more interested if it's Sam Levitt against Cam Rising. I'm taking Sam Levitt. I'm gonna let you know that right now. Um, Cam hasn't shown me anything in 2 years. Just
I don't
old.
know. I don't know. Because I mean, he does play well when he does play, but at the same time, excuse me, um, that's if he plays. That's the only thing. But I'm with you. I'm probably gonna stick with Arizona State. I think they're figuring it out slowly. Plus, it's like this is their first year in the Big 12. They don't know how these explosive offenses work, but they do know how Utah works. So I think it'll be a comfortability of just old Pac-12 teams going at it. So I think they'll have Utah's number this week.
Right? And we'll see what happens. A Friday night showdown. We love to see a Friday night showdown. I'm more for Friday night games. Please, please, please. NCAA teams, general managers, D make more Friday night games. All right, James. Now we go to the big game of the week, right? This is it. This is what we've been waiting for ever since the realignment has been mentioned last year and then going into this year. The Pac-12 dissolved. Oregon goes to the Big Ten. One of the key games that they pick is they want to play Ohio State. Ohio State has to go to Eugene. What are the keys for Oregon to win? And then what are the keys for Ohio State to win?
Keys for Ohio State to win. I'll start with them. They have to stop the run because I believe we've rejuvenated the offense last week with Jordan running the ball really well. So they're gonna have to stop the run, but at the same time, we still have Tez out on the outside, and they have to stop Dylan Gabriel from scrambling and running around for 50 yards and a touchdown or whatever. They're gonna have to contain Dylan Gabriel the best they can and try to contain Tez Johnson and hopefully stop the run as much as they can. But Oregon fan here, so let it happen. But so Oregon, excuse me, you're gonna have to slow down. What's his name? The receiver. What's that freshman receiver's name?
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, we're gonna have to slow him down immensely. So defense played well last week. We need that same defense this week. Corners, safeties, everyone in the secondary, we're gonna have to lock in with that. It's because it's not just him. It's they have a great receiving core, so they're gonna have to lock in. Defensive line need to play like they played against Michigan State and just stuff the run, stop Judson, and contain. Oh my gosh, I went blank on his name as soon as I was about to say it. What is the quarterback's name? Good lord.
Oh, Will Howard. I mean, sorry, not
I'm
Will Howard. Yeah, Will Howard. Yeah, Will
sorry.
Howard.
I just barely got off work and I'm just scramble brain, but you gotta contain Will Howard as well. Don't let him go crazy for 400, 300 yards and a few touchdowns. We're gonna have to just keep pressure on him, QB hits, whatever. Send some exotic blitzes if we need to, but the main key is more just stopping the pass and just containing. Because I'm not too worried about the run game of Ohio State, but
Really?
I was about to say, but we don't want to let it get out of hand either. So I'm more worried about the receivers than the running back.
So let me just say, okay, Oregon, the keys for them to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
No turnovers. Like a perfect game has to be played. Not only a perfect game has to be played like with turnovers, your special teams has to show up this game. There has to be, some kick returns that go deep into the territory or some punt returns. You got to pin Ohio State back at the, deep into their territory where they can't, you know, put a quick drive in midfield. That's, I think, the keys for Oregon on the defensive side. On the offensive side, no turnovers, but yeah, that running game, that the offensive line is going to have a great game because Ohio State's defensive line is very decent, and they got a lot of depth, right? A lot of guys coming back for their 6th year. Now, James, I hate to say this to you because you are a Oregon fan. So you got Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith, Quinshon Judkins, Emeka Ukube, Trevion Henderson, Carnell Tate. You have to stop all of that on offense. So let's say Jeremiah Smith's not doing well. They go to Carnell Tate. Say Tate's not doing well. They go to Emeka Buka, right? Let's say they're not doing well. They can go to Judkins. Let's say Judkins is not doing well. They can go to Trevion Henderson. If Ohio State can put together a plan to just like share the ball and share the wealth, it could get out of hand quick. especially if you can't stop the run. And I think Oregon can stop the run. Don't get me wrong. Ohio State's offensive line is their weakest link on their chain, right? Their offensive line, but we haven't saw a lot from Ohio State. So what do they have? What do they have that they've cooked up this offseason or planned for this game that we haven't seen? Because you got to remember, Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator, and we know how crazy he gets. He doesn't have to be a head coach. He's just sitting there doing plays in his office, just making random plays, making sure how to confuse the defense. What I can say is Will Howard, this is a big game for him. So if y'all can get pressure on Will Howard, I can see you pulling out a win, like discombobulating him. If it's a shootout, you can win because I think y'all can score faster than Ohio State. But if it's a slow pace game, like we get ours at the 50, you get yours at the 20, we get ours at the 20, you get yours at the 50. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be, I'm not ready to make my pick because I'm really 50-50 right now. I'm be honest with you. But it'll be definitely a good game in the first Big Ten like challenge for
Yeah,
Oregon and Ohio State.
for sure. But like I said, I'm more worried about the receiving core than the run game because, as you said, the offensive line is their weakest link, and our defensive line looks like they're picking it up finally. So if we can just contain the run and shut down the pass as best as we can, we have a shot.
You do have a shot. You know who doesn't have a shot if they can't contain the run or contain the passing? Alabama's defense, guy. Um, as we go into the SEC, Alabama's defense, can they bounce back, James, against a shifty South Carolina? As we talked about Monday, Alabama doesn't do well against a scrambling quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Sellers and Henderson, that's all they do.
Yeah.
They scramble back there. They try to make plays downfield. Today, Alabama coaches answered a lot of questions about the defense, and they're like, "Hey, we didn't have our guys prepared. The intensity is going to be picked up this week. We are, we are playing at home. We're going to be we're going to have a great product to show to our fans." Malik Moore, made an apology about, he is a two-time captain and he apologized for letting his emotions get out of control. But the secondary is young. The secondary is young and they're inexperienced, and I don't know, man. I have a bad feeling about this game, to be honest with you. But then again, I have a great feeling. I'm optimistic about the coaches really actually like, hey, okay, that was our game. That was our one game. And it was the worst one game to have, right? But that's our one game. From now on, it's strict. It's to the T. We're not letting anything slip by in the cracks. We're gonna cross our T's and dot our I's every practice, every prep, everything, right? So
Yeah.
how do you feel about it? South Carolina gets a win at
Uh,
Bryant-Denny Stadium.
that's what I was gonna say. It's gonna be tough for South Carolina going into Tuscaloosa, but like you said, scrambling quarterback again. But I don't think Sellers has that edge like Pavia had with Vanderbilt. He's he is shifty, he is all these things, but I think Pavia just was like set on something. And Sellers, I know he can just come and go, I feel like. And I don't know if he's going to be as locked in as Diego and Vanderbilt was to beat Alabama. I say all that, but Alabama, South Carolina's defense is still South Carolina defense. Even though they got kind of exposed this past week against Ole Miss, they still are very good, and they can slow down this Alabama offense. Now it's just up to the offense of South Carolina if they want to play or if they want to be lackadaisical and not show up, because they don't put up a lot of yards passing. It's all running. So Sellers got to show up. The running game got to show up. And, when we need a pass downfield, receivers got to get open. But it's just going to be still tough for South Carolina going into Alabama and trying to beat them. After the Alabama just got embarrassed by Vanderbilt, they're going to be hungry for
Blood in the water, for
yeah,
sure.
just hungry for it. So I'm more worried if I'm South Carolina of just how locked in are we going to be because Alabama's coming in there and they're going to pedal to the metal and try to put up 60. So I I'm not making a pick yet, but I like Alabama in this game. But I'm not gonna make a pick yet until later down the way. But yeah, it's gonna be shaky for South Carolina, I think.
We appreciate you. Go ahead and putting your pre-pick in. We appreciate that from the Alabama side. Um, but all right, going back to the Big Ten, right? USC losing to Minnesota really had to get in the mud and take a ass kicking. They thought it was sweet. They didn't play Penn State or Ohio State or Michigan, and they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, Michigan was tough, but the lower teams of the Big Ten, we should be able to run through them." Absolutely not.
Yep.
Uh, USC is still in the mud, James. Can they get out the mud and beat a pretty good Penn State team with a new offensive coordinator? Drew Aller's been looking well. What are your thoughts about USC?
I think this is another USCL. To be honest, you just
Mm,
dropped the ball against Minnesota and let them run on the past two games have not been able to stop the run. What makes me think any different against Penn State? And that's I believe Penn State's getting their best running back as well this week, if I'm correct.
yeah,
He
it's
may
off
be
for a week
coming.
rest.
Yeah, so he's probably coming back and he's carrying that rushing attack. So what makes me think any different that USC figured it out within a week and a half? They didn't figure out against after Michigan and let Minnesota run all over them. So and that was Minnesota. We didn't even know who the running back was from Minnesota.
We do now. Shout out
So
Stewart.
I think it's just gonna be another ugly game for USC. Of course, it'll be close because they have a powerful offense and they can come back, but their defense can't stop anything at this point. So yeah, I don't expect anything much from USC's defense. They're getting a rude awakening from coming into the Big Ten, losing to Michigan, losing to Minnesota, and now probably about to lose to Penn State. If they somehow upset Penn State, I'll come back on the pod and just take my shit back. But as of right now, they haven't shown me anything that makes me have the confidence that they can stop Penn State at all.
Now this is the home game for USC. Okay,
When did a home game
USC.
against Michigan?
It was, and it was a good game against Michigan. It went down to the wire. They
Both
just
of them
missed some
have.
tackles. Most of them have, right? So yeah, USC is in the mud, but are they stuck in the mud, or are they just trying to get up and they can't find their footing? And this game is for them to really find their footing against Penn State, right? Now look, we've always said Penn State's coach James Franklin chokes big games. All right, Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the big teams he can't beat. He did absolutely struggle against UCLA because they didn't have their running back, Singleton. Singleton's back, but is he 100%? Is he really good to go? Because they thought he was going to be 100% against UCLA, and he wasn't. If Singleton doesn't play, or Singleton is not getting that many carries, I can see USC pulling off this upset. I'm not making my pick. I'm just making an observation. I can see them pulling off this upset and finding their footing. But if not, if they get absolutely just ran over, expect USC to be in the mud for a long time because it doesn't
Yep.
get any easier for them down the road.
And that's what I expect. But I digress.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take off my hat for this one because we gotta get some real talk going on here. I don't usually say this a lot. We got the Red River Shootout, James. We got the probably one of the top rivalries in college football this weekend. We got Red River Shootout, the Iron Bowl, and I'm taking the Red River Shootout every time over the Iron Bowl in the SEC now. But hear me out. Alabama lost, Tennessee lost, Georgia lost to Alabama. All the SEC teams have lost except for Texas. Texas has a bye week. They decided to have a bye week when everybody was losing. Oklahoma also had a bye week. Got some rest. Maybe not. We'll get back their wide receivers for this game. If I'm pretty sure most of them will probably maybe not Deion Burks, but most of them will probably come back. Oklahoma has a great defense. Texas has an electric offense, really fast. As you said, Texas defense is really fast and electric. Oklahoma's offense has been shaky and more on the downside than the high shaky side. They've really been shaky. But as you know, the Red River Shootout, it doesn't really matter who was the best team before you came in. This game, there's no executive suites. It's a 50-yard line. It's half red, half burnt orange, and we're going and we're clashing. James, does this become a shootout, or does Texas trample the Sooners and just make their dominance in the SEC known?
Like you said, it doesn't matter if you're ranked 1, ranked 50. The Red River Shootout, it's always going to be a game. So it's always kind of shaky going into this game from either team, especially if they're ranked like Texas is ranked right now. And Oklahoma's offense has been shaky, but throw that out the window for this game. They may show up. They've had a bye week, maybe figure some things out. Texas had a bye week, so they're healthy. They're ready to go. I think Quinn is back. So I don't want to say it's a trampling, but by the end of it, it won't be too close. It'll be a game for a minute, but I think Texas is way too good and will run away with it by the end. So, like, you know how Ohio State and Oregon struggle with Michigan State, like the first quarter, first half, and then ran away with it? I think it's going to be that type of game. It's going to be a struggle the beginning, might be 7-7, 14, something like that. And then Texas is just going to snap and then just run away with it. And Oklahoma's defense could keep them in the game, but can Oklahoma's offense move the ball against that Texas defense? Texas defense I've seen live, and that's just scary. So I don't know. That's the thing. I
Spooky
don't
October,
know.
huh?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a game, I'll tell you that. But I'm not making a pick yet. But it's just what I see from both sides. I've seen Texas defense, and I've seen how Oklahoma's defense has played people. I've seen Texas's offense play really well all year, and I've seen Oklahoma's offense stumble for most of the year. So later down the week, I'll give you a pick, but it's gonna be a game, and I don't know. It's just I
Does
keep
Arch
wanting to
Manning
make
get
it.
in?
I'm not gonna say that because if he gets in, that means Texas is up by like 60. So or less.
Mm.
Well, I'm not even gonna put that in the air right now. I'm not even gonna say that. But yeah, they got
Unless Quinn doesn't start, huh? Unless
no. That was
Quinn's not ready to go.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. But
If
from what
Quinn's
I
not
see,
ready to go and Arch gets to start, what do you think? Honestly,
oof,
Arch gets
I
to start.
it's gonna be crazy because he's a good quarterback. He's young, so he takes a lot of shots downfield. But I think if he starts this game, I think Stark is gonna put it in his head like you don't have to take that deep ball every time. We're playing Oklahoma this week. Take that medium pass. Take that check down if you need to. You don't always have to throw the bomb. This is the game where you got to lock in and not have to check your ego at the door. You're gonna have to do that and not try to bombs away every time. Because that's how you lose games. And I saw it firsthand against UL Monroe. Man was throwing the ball downfield almost every play, and he got picked off twice. Luckily, it was just you and Monroe, so there wasn't no issue, and nobody was scared they're going to get behind because they're just that good. But Oklahoma, that's a whole different story. So if he does start, which I don't think he will, he just has to lock in and just run the offense as it's supposed to be run and not have to keep chunking the ball downfield.
I'm excited to see who starts. I'm excited to see the game. Tickets for the game are in the thousands, tens of
Oh,
thousands also. So
the seats close to where? Oh no, I'm talking about. I'm thinking about the Georgia game. Never mind. Take that back. Excuse me. But
yeah, so in Dallas with the fair, try to get into the fair is going to be crazy. Traffic's going to be
yeah.
absolutely insane. So if you are out here in Dallas, make sure to stay at home. Don't even try to go outside when this game is on, because if Texas lose, it might get crazy out here. You know what I mean? If Oklahoma lose, it's definitely getting crazy out here. So um, take my advice with that, please. Now, shout out to G. Also, we didn't give you a bad review on your team, but we do have some questions that need to be answered, as this is the episode for that. James, Arizona knocks off Utah a couple weeks ago. Then they go play. Sorry, I forgot who they played last
Tech.
week. They played Tech. A good game with Tech. Not really what we wanted, but it puts Texas Tech on the map, but it doesn't put Arizona on the map, right? But Arizona knocked off Utah. They lose to Tech. Can they knock off a Big 12 favorite as they play BYU this week?
Man, that's a question. Um,
What would that do to the race, right? Like, what would you think? All right, Arizona is just known for knocking off the big. Every time someone hypes the Big 12 person up, because Texas Tech wasn't really hyped up to be the fave, right? So they
nah.
just lost. But BYU's been hyped up to be the favorite because they beat Kansas, they beat Baylor, they beat everybody they played. So now Arizona comes. So what do we think?
I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona shows up and shows out. I would not be surprised at all. And what it would do, it would throw Tech into the playoff race at that point, and we don't want that to happen. So please, BYU, please show up. But
You don't want that to happen? You don't want
Texas
Tech
Tech,
in there?
I don't want to hear these Tech fans, bro. Do you remember when Tech went to the Final Four or to the national championship in basketball? They were down on what street is that? Hollywood? No, Buddy Holly Boulevard or whatever it was, setting fucking scooters on fire and having a whole riot down there. We don't need that again in Lubbock. We don't need that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see them happy. I don't want it. That's Greg too. I don't want to see him happy that Tech's making the
Wow.
playoff. So BYU, please show up. But I can see this game a trap game for BYU as well. I can see Fafita and McMillan being pissed and locking in and going for 4,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. So, like you said, they lock in when it's a ranked team, but if it's Tech or somebody like that, they fumble the ball, they lose it. They don't know how to play football anymore. A defensive struggle and scoring one touchdown against Tech is crazy. So,
That is crazy. But it's the same thing. That's the same thing happened when they played Kansas State.
see,
So
I don't know.
one touchdown, defensive struggle.
I don't know anything about the Big 12. Apparently, this defensive struggle now. I don't know, but yeah,
So one to 10, do they knock off BYU on your scale of 1 to 10? How worried are you?
I'm at a I'm at an 8.
At an 8, that's
Yeah,
high.
bro. So I don't know. Something in my heart is telling me BYU's gonna drop this game some way somehow. I hope they don't. I hope they don't, but something is just telling me that they are.
Crazier things have happened. We will definitely keep our eye on that. And during this week, I'm gonna have to really look myself in the mirror and say, do I trust BYU? Do I trust the Mormons, or do I still have a Fafita agenda to fulfill? Right.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, like we said, crazy things that happen. Vandy's on the map, James. Thanks to Alabama. You know what I mean? Thanks to Diego Pavia. Um, Vandy's on the map. They got to go to Kentucky. Kentucky is on the map because they beat Ole Miss. Vandy beat Alabama. Kentucky beat Ole Miss, and now they play each other. Vandy's gonna be in that white, in that gold. Kentucky's gonna be in that all blue. Does Vandy got the juice or the magic tricks
Uh,
for Kentucky, or is it just was it a fluke? I don't think it was a fluke. Let me tell you, they kicked our ass in that game. But tell me, the defense for Kentucky is better than our defense. I can tell
yeah,
you that right now,
I was gonna
especially
say
up
that.
front. Up front, I'm not sure about the secondary. Maybe the secondary is better because they got more depth and or a little more veteran prone. But that front seven for Kentucky is not gonna let Pavia just run where he wants to run.
And that's the
But then
thing.
again, Vandy gonna have the plan. They schemed up for Oklahoma. I mean, for Alabama. You think they can't
Well,
scheme for Kentucky?
they saw the Alabama defense let Georgia back into the game. They saw what they needed to do to put themselves in a good position to win. Going into Kentucky, it's kind of shaky because, like you said, that front seven is crazy scary, and they're not gonna let this man Poppy just do whatever he wants like Alabama did. Like you said, Kentucky's defense, at least the front, is way better than Alabama's. So I think they can contain Diego a lot better than Alabama did. But can they score? The offense of Kentucky, can they score against Vanderbilt? If Diego just he has all he has to do is get one, and then it's just downhill after that. But if he gets that one and they start going, can Kentucky compete and put points on the board? That's the only thing that's been holding Kentucky back is they can't score. They cannot put up past 30, 20, something like that. And they held down a Ole Miss, a Georgia, and I forgot who else they played, and kept it close. And then ended up being Ole Miss. Can they? I think they're gonna have less of a challenge doing that with Vanderbilt. But again, Diego just has to get one, bro, and then the offense is rolling after that. So they gotta hit him fast, and hit him early. Because if not, this man is gonna do what he did to Alabama.
You know what scares me about Kentucky's defense is that South Carolina game that they had earlier this year in the offense. They couldn't stop Sellers,
Yeah.
right? I think Diego's got more juice than Sellers. I think he
No-
brings that competitiveness and the leadership to his team, right? They're like,
Yeah.
yo, we got this.
Yeah.
Vandy hasn't made a bowl game since 2018.
Damn.
2018 is the last time Vandy has made a bowl game. If they win this game, they're 2 games away. Actually, yeah, they're 2 games away from being bowl eligible. They've knocked off the top dogs, Alabama. They've knocked off Kentucky, who went toe to toe with Georgia. We could really be talking in November if Vandy has a chance to go to the SEC championship, or if they have a chance to get into the playoffs.
They gotta win a lot of games, but I mean they're heading in the right direction. But I don't know. I don't know if they have enough to keep this streak going to get into a SEC championship. Maybe a playoff spot, maybe, but I think out of the SEC teams, they're gonna pick somebody else
So they're
unless
three and
they.
two right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They play Kentucky. Let's say they win that game. That means they're 4-2. They play Ball State after that. 5-2. They
yeah,
play Texas. Texas has got to go to Vandy. Now listen, trap game for sure, but I trust
yeah,
Texas. So
definitely.
they're 5-3, right? They go play Auburn. They're 6-3. South Carolina, 7-3. LSU, they can beat LSU. I think they can beat LSU. 8-3. and then they play Tennessee, who we just saw Tennessee get ran through. Well, not ran through, but held by Arkansas.
Yeah,
So that's 8-3. An 8-3
9-3.
SEC 9-3 SEC team who knocked off. Remember, their resume is they beat Bama, Kentucky, South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee. That's a nice resume to go into the college football playoff. You can't
Yeah.
deny that. I'm telling you, I feel like Diego has that Johnny Manziel in him, bro. I feel like he's bringing that,
Mm,
and it's
yeah.
scary. It's
But you
scary
can
because
you can also look at they dropped a game to Georgia State,
that's
a
the only
game
that
that game
one
they
that
should have
one.
won.
Yeah,
And if they dropped a third game, that's what's probably going to be the eyesore. Just, well, they did all this, but what is this? And then they're going to go down to Georgia, Tennessee, and all of them just like, well, they lost to this person right here, they lost to them right here, and it's just, I don't think they get enough respect as being Vanderbilt. You know what I mean? That's the only reason I say that. I don't think uh the committee, unless they keep winning, and that's if they keep winning, will give them that type of respect to put them in a playoff spot or whatever. But again, like you said, Pavia, he has that energy, he has that competitiveness in him to roll out some of these games, man. And it starts this week with Kentucky. They gotta win out, and only one, like you said, only one that I do not see them taking out is Texas, because Pavia can run, but
you're not
nah,
that
bro.
fast.
Not that fast. He not against Texas. I'm sorry, but LSU, yeah, they're spotty on defense at times. Tennessee, if Nico don't like get out of his head, they can blow that game easily. They just dropped it to Arkansas, and then what was the other one? Uh,
Auburn.
Auburn. Who's throwing the ball? So yeah,
Oh man. All right. Move on. Move on. We'll go to a game that could be a playoff berth game. We got Ole Miss against LSU. When you look at the rankings of the SEC, right? Everyone is really, neck and neck. So this game right here could be the factor of who gets a playoff berth or who gets that third spot in the SEC. How you feel about this game?
uh, I like Ole Miss in this game. Their offense is super explosive. They did drop that game against Kentucky, but a lot of people have almost dropped the game to Kentucky.
This is
So
true.
so after that, they were fine. You know, they went to South Carolina, which we thought would be another defensive struggle, and blew them out. So I don't know if LSU has enough on defense to slow down Dart and those receivers, especially what's his name,
Trey Harris.
Trey Harris. So LSU is potent on offense as well. So it might be a shootout, which I wouldn't be mad at. I would love to see a
Like
shootout. I haven't seen a shootout in a minute. I would love to see that, but
last
I
time this game happened, it was a shootout, and I had a parlay for $4,000.
God dang.
Not, I didn't bet $4,000.
Oh,
It was like a
I know, I
$5.
know.
It was like a five
Yeah,
dollar bet, but it was a shootout, and LSU lost, and I was hurt.
I can see
It was
LSU
like
losing again.
60. If it's a shootout, do you see them losing?
LSU,
Yeah.
yeah. Ole Miss got a lot more firepower than LSU has.
If it's a defensive game, do you see Ole Miss winning? And we're talking about a low
Yeah,
score game like 17-10 or 21-17. Who do you see on top?
yeah. I can see if it's a defensive struggle, I see LSU coming up on top. Just because I go back to that Kentucky game where Ole Miss looked out like a whole different team against a Kentucky defense. So if it's a defensive struggle, I think Ole Miss just crumbles and under the pressure, and LSU runs away with it. But if it's a shootout, yeah, Ole Miss is about to put up points.
We got the Red River Shootout, and we might have the playoff berth shootout. Welcome to the SEC, people. Welcome, welcome. Now, let's go to my favorite team, James. One of my favorite teams. A lot of faith has been, well, not say faith, a lot of criticism has been given to this Colorado team because they didn't look good against North Dakota State. They lost against Nebraska. But ever since then, we've been pulling wins out the hat. You feel me? Win against Baylor, win against UCF. James, coming off a bye week, Colorado's got to go against Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson has been looking so, but I think he's found his footing, and I think the coaching staff has really put a game plan against him. Do you think, with the Colorado improved defense, if they can stop Avery Johnson?
Let me tell you.
Oh, here we go.
This is gonna be the actual test of this Colorado defense if they can stop Avery Johnson and them boys. They played Baylor. They played who else did they play? UCF. And Avery Johnson, he reminds me a lot of the UCF quarterback at times. Just a little bit more, how would
I
I
think he's
say?
faster on the edge.
Yeah. So they held their own against UCF, but I think all together as a team with Avery Johnson and everyone, I think they can really put some pressure on Colorado. So not saying Colorado is gonna fold under this. They could easily shut down, like, because we all thought UCF was probably gonna dominate Colorado, and we saw what happened there. So this could be another situation like that. But I think as them what's it called, them being ranked and everything, I think it's gonna be more of a battle. Not saying I'm not gonna sit here and say Colorado trash and all this other stuff like I've been saying all.
Ooh, we came so far. Oh my gosh, we came so far.
I'm just gonna say it's gonna be a competitive game, and hopefully Colorado loses. But I just
Look,
I
think
just
about
think
that.
that
Think about that before you make that pick.
I'm not making a pick right now. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
okay.
But I think Colorado's offense is just a little bit more potent on that side of the ball. And I don't know if Kansas State can stop that, to be honest. I don't know.
Here are my worries. The thing for Kansas State that has always been a strong point is their offensive line, right? Their offensive line is full of veterans, full of fifth, 6 year seniors. Really don't have any underclassmen on their offensive line. Those guys have been together for a minute. Colorado's defensive line hasn't been together for that long. Their linebacker crew is coming along, right? They've really been showing that they can get the job done. Kansas State is coming off Colorado was coming off a bye week, so they got a little rest. I don't know. It's the battle of the trenches has not been Colorado's forte, right? It hasn't been their best showing. But for this game, if they can show up and they can show out, then when we talk about who's the best in the Big 12, it's got to be, if
Texas
BYU
Tech.
wins,
Well,
it's got to be Texas Tech, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado. But then if they beat Kansas State, it's got to be BYU, Colorado, Iowa State, Texas Tech. That's what it has to be. Colorado has to be in the top three for sure. If they beat Kansas State,
nah,
I
they
think
don't. They don't have to be.
they
But
should be. The respect should be put there for sure.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, uh, Kansas State is a solid team. They're playing in Manhattan, right? Or are they playing in Colorado?
No, you got to go to Colorado.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. But anyway, it's gonna be a little different for Kansas State going into that type of atmosphere and everything. But they've been battle tested, and only loss they had is to a good BYU team. So can they shut? Well, actually, Shador is not going to be running like what's his name from BYU. So I think they can contain him. But can the back end with the secondary contain him and Travis Hunter? So that's going to be the scary part. It's just their pass game is just so electric, and Travis Hunter and Horn are just really good receivers. And I don't know if Kansas State has that type of secondary to maybe shut down one, but then you have the other one. So
You got 3 or 4 of them actually. So
uh, we have two.
oh, okay.
Anyway.
Oh, nobody gets respects against Travis and Horn, but okay, we'll rock with that. Not not Wester who caught the touchdown pass against Baylor. He don't get respect, but
he dropped
okay.
it before that, so whatever. No, I'm playing. Anyway, but Kansas State just got to lock in, contain the run, contain the passes as best as they can, and just play ball on offense. Hold the ball as long as you can if you need to. Run the clock, run that ball. Make the game a fucking 21-14 if you have to. Just don't let them go wild on offense. And I think Kansas State can pull it up.
We shall see. Come Friday when we make our picks. I really want to hear your thoughts on why you're going to pick Kansas State, but it's okay. I already know that we don't get the respect over here for Colorado, but
I tell you, this is gonna be the test. But
if they pass the test, then what, James? What do we
who they
get from
got?
you
Who
in
they got
Colorado?
left? They got Iowa State left or no?
No, they got BYU though.
Yeah.
But we passed the test. If Colorado passes this test, who do we have next?
I said
Right?
it's gonna be
Who
a test. I didn't say the test.
Arizona they have next. Then they play Cincinnati. They play Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. They don't play
Oh,
BYU. They don't play BYU. They don't play Iowa State.
okay. So it's gonna be a test. Don't twist my words. The test, a test.
Okay. My bad, Professor James.
But
But
Tech and Arizona can trip them up as well. But when we get there,
I'm
we'll
not
get there.
I'm not worried about Fafita. We McMillan gonna get locked up by Travis Hunter when that game comes, but that's down the line.
McMillan's like 620.
That's down the line. Anyway, we got to talk about the Heisman favorite right now, Ashton Genty. He's going against Hawaii this week. Hawaii averages the defense gives up about 120 rushing yards per game. As we saw Ashton Genty last week, the first touch he got was a 60-yard touchdown straight out the gate. Now Utah State is, I don't want to sound mean, but they're dog water, right? They're trash. It is what it is. Invest more into your program. How many yards do you think Gentry's going to have this week against Hawaii?
Probably 180.
180?
Have you looked at the stats, bro?
I think he has 200 because they have to. If they want him to win the Heisman for sure as a running back, he has to have like a 200 to 300 yard games.
Bro, they've been sitting him after the first half.
Not this game. We got to play full. We got to play a full game.
I don't know, bro. This brings me his fucking game stats shit. It could be a 200-yard game, but he has to get in the first half because Boise State are not gonna wear this man out because they're trying to make a playoff bid. So they're gonna get him like his little touch of 5 touches for 800 yards, and then they're gonna take him out. So I don't know. Hold on real quick while I pull this up. But like you said about Hawaii's defensive front, are they that good, or is it just they haven't played anybody?
Who, Hawaii?
Hawaii.
They played San Jose State and took a loss.
See right here. First game of the season, 20 carries, 267, 6 TDs. Against Oregon, 25 touches, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. uh Portland, whatever state,
Put a
11 touches for its
spanking on y'all
127.
boys.
Yeah. Washington State, 26 carries for 259 and 4 touchdowns. And then last week, 13 for 186 and 3. So they played Oregon at the beginning of the season. This man still had almost 200 yards. I don't see this little Hawaii team stopping this at all. I think he'll have his a buck 90, buck 80, and then he's gonna sit the rest of the game. Unless they want to just make that
That'll
push
be
for him, but I don't know if they want to wear him out before they make the playoff bid. I think they're trying to save him for that and then let him run wild for sure, for real. Because he could have easily had 300 yards last week, easily, but they took him out the first half.
well. I hope he gets over 300, but it's been quite a day, quite a podcast of answering all these questions, James. And we got about 10 minutes left. You got some questions? Is the donut shop open? Because yesterday it wasn't. Only got like a croissant. You feel me? One donut. I need the full service at the James
What
Donut
do you
Shop. So
mean?
I need a fresh out. Krispy Kreme is showing you up right now. I'm just letting you know right
All
now.
right, bro.
Not good for business.
Since you want to talk about running backs, who is the best running back so far for you then?
Oh, it's Genty.
Just cut out. I was about to say besides Genty, because this man's
Besides Genty,
because that man's a whole different beast.
besides Genty, the best running back right now.
You have Taj Brooks that runs for 100 yards every game. You have Jordan from Oregon. You have Judson from Ohio State. You have Singleton from Penn State. You have the 2 running backs from Michigan. You have Buddy from Arkansas, number 0, the freshman. Who am I missing?
You're missing the number one person that's behind Genty's, Caleb Johnson from Iowa. That's who's the best
Yeah,
running back
yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. There we go. I knew I was forgetting somebody.
If I had to put top 3, it's Caleb Johnson from Iowa, it's Mullins from Michigan, and I don't Edwards is Mullins from Michigan, and then it's Trevion Henderson and Judkins, that duo from Ohio State. And who's last is definitely Ollie Gordon. Such a disappointment still.
Didn't even ask about Ollie Gordon.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
No Taj Brooks.
No, bro, he just gets 100. He's a prop merchant. That's all he is. He's a prop merchant. That's he.
Did you, bro? Just because I watched that Tech game, he has some good runs. He can break loose, but like you said, he is a prop merchant. He just gets you a buck 20, 3 TDs or whatever, and then call it good. So I don't know. I think he's decent.
We'll see if he can make it to the top. We'll see when he goes to get some real competition.
Like
Colorado
who?
game. The Colorado game.
Okay. All right. Colorado. Anyway, what was I about to ask? You threw me off. Sheesh. I completely went blank. Okay, I'll just do this. So the receivers going into this game, out of the top, let's say top 10, what receiver you think is gonna show up and show out and ball out when their team is on the line and are having to play in these basically playoff games, to be honest, because we have Texas, Oklahoma, Oregon,
Yeah,
Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
USC, Penn State, Alabama, South Carolina, and I'm missing a game.
LSU, Ole Miss.
LSU, Ole Miss. I knew I was missing a game. What receiver you think is gonna show out the most, like ball out?
To be honest with you, for them to win, it won't be anyone from Ohio State. It's gonna be Kyron Lacey from LSU. He's a dog. You had Neighbors last year. You had that wide receiver core in LSU that was really good with Jaden Daniels. Now you have Nussmeyer and you got Lacey. You got to put yourself on the map. You got to make sure that Ole Miss knows that every time you step on the field, if they want to shoot out, come stop you. They're going to double him, I think, but I still think he's going to be able to get his catches for sure. So I see Kyron Lacey being a big factor, the biggest factor. But other than that, Jeremiah Smith is going to have to come play against Ohio State. I mean, against Oregon. This is the are you a overrated freshman or are you really the real deal? Like, it's a competition. The competition can't touch you no matter who they are, or when you get somebody that's just as competitive or at the same stature as you, that you can't get separation and you can't make those catches.
Gotcha. Coming out the bye, Colorado, your favorite team all of a sudden.
Whoa. The hat says my favorite team, right? So
Anyway,
I
caping
rock
for
for the
Colorado.
underdogs.
Anyway, coming out the bye, going into playing Kansas State. We're playing in Colorado. Kansas State's run game is really good. Can Colorado's defense do it again and shut down a run like they did at UCF? Or is Kansas State just a different beast?
Kansas State doesn't want to shoot out. Okay. 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, Colorado's going to win a shootout. That's their game, right? If their defense can't stop you, okay, fine, we'll have a shootout. I think there's not an ultimatum, but another intensity about this game because Dylan Edwards left Colorado and went to Kansas State, and he kind of didn't leave on great terms, but I wouldn't say he left on bad terms, right? It was kind of like in the middle. I think Colorado's going to have a fire under their, under their defensive unit to like, hey, he left. They think Avery can run all over us. They think they can still run all over us. Let's show them that they can. So I can tell you from the first quarter. I'll be able to tell you from the first quarter, and I'll be live tweeting this game all night. If Colorado can stop,
Muted.
yo, that's crazy. If Colorado can stop their running game in the first 3 drives and score on the first 3 drives, throw it away. They're not coming back for sure.
All right. So you've hated this man since last year. If Ryan Day loses to Oregon, is he in the hot seat?
If Ryan Day loses to Oregon, warm that seat up, baby. You feel me? Put some warm cushions under there because you know what? He's going to be sitting there for a long time, James. It doesn't matter if he loses to Oregon. As long as he wins that Michigan and Penn State game, like I told y'all last year, he can lose every other game. He is fine. All right? Ryan Day is fine. He got his best friend with him that's upstairs calling plays. All he got to do is sit back, yell at the players, tell them to do better, be a motivator, recruit. Ryan Day is in the best position that he can be. So he's got the number 1 wide receiver as a freshman. He's got 2 running backs. If one doesn't work, put in the other. All he's got to do is make sure he has a better offensive line next year and get another quarterback. And he's got one, Aaron Nolan, who's doing well. So, and you know what? But wait, and you know what? The most important thing, Aaron Nolan's black. So when Ohio State has black quarterbacks, they win national championships. I just want to go ahead and throw that out there. So the seat's not hot. It is just warm because he's going to be sitting there for so long because he's comfortable. So no, it won't be hot if they lose. Now, will it be the talk of the town? Will you feel like Oregon is top notch? Absolutely, and you should because y'all will be the good team. But that seat's not hot, man. He just got to beat Michigan and Penn State. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. I'm telling you. I know it's stressful for you.
What changed from last year to now that you're so high on Ryan Day?
He got offensive coordinator. He made staff changes. We see that his recruiting class really came together. No one can stop Jeremiah Smith. so far. Will Howard has been playing. He got rid of Kyle McCord. I think he should have kept him, but hey, it is what it is. He got another piece. He got Caleb Downs from Alabama. The man saw that his job was on the line and stood up in the paint, 10 toes down, James, and started writing checks. You have to respect that. Especially when your rival, they just jumped ship and they were cheating the whole time. So it is what it is. You know what I mean?
So they got Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State,
Dub.
Purdue, Northwestern,
Dub.
Indiana, Michigan.
Great game. That'll be a good game. Listen, the Indiana game is a trap game because they'll be looking forward to Michigan. Indiana is no joke this year. Indiana is here to play. Cursignetti got them boys smoking cigars after games because they winning. His recruiting motto is he tells recruits, Google me, I win. That's cold. Not we got the best facilities. Google me, I win. Wherever I go, I win. So when we get to that game with Indiana, maybe I feel different about his hot seat. But it's right now, he on the Southwest, well, really not the Southwest. He on a G5 flight, sitting warm and comfortable with his legs crossed, with his Starbucks coffee, reading the newspaper. That's it. He read about Michigan losing to Washington, the newcomer. He's happy right now.
All right. I want you to remember this going forward. If these men drops a fucking game, excuse my language, but we're gonna run right back to this fucking episode.
And they spend too much money to lose these games, man.
We're gonna rehash this. I hope they lose to
now. What I said, Oregon. I said if they lose, he's still not on the hot seat.
I hope they lose to Nebraska or something like that. But anyway, I'm done.
All right. Well, we kind of went over our time, but we appreciate y'all coming out. Uploading clips, uploading this video on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. The link will be in the bio. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, trying to get to 3,000 followers on TikTok and more followers on Instagram. So just follow all the links for us. Tell a couple of friends also to follow the links. It's free to you. It's free to them. We don't email you or anything. We just want to get our show out there and, spread some of this knowledge we have about college football. James, you got anything else for the people?
Nothing. Just keep tapping in, everybody. Just keep subscribing, keep sharing. We appreciate y'all for coming to every episode and listening. So thank y'all. And go Oregon.
Go Alabama and Ohio.
Nobody asked. Nobody asked.
Oh, okay. Shout out to the Sooners. I need you to come through.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the end of the show. We appreciate y'all coming out. Charles and James, Over and Under. Peace.